Welcome back to our studio. Check this man out. Pocket wedge, dark suit, really impressive.
It's the last time I can dress up for you unless I get married during the off-season. Which I think is going to happen. So this is it. Enjoy it now.
There'll be a lot of broken hearts if you do. Look, we got to talk a little bit about what the situation is with the Orioles rotation the rest of the way.
Yeah, we're out of off days. We still have a six-man rotation set up here. And Buck Showalter told reporters earlier today it looks like he's going to stay with that rotation for the rest of the season, which is another week. We thought they were going to shut down maybe another young arm or two, but he indicated no, that the way it's currently set up, he's going to let it play out, where, of course, you have Vandenhurk today. You're going to have Brian Mattis tomorrow, Brad Bergeson Tuesday, Kevin Millwood again on Wednesday, Chris Tillman Thursday to start the last home series, Guthrie on Friday, Vandenhurk again on Saturday, Brian Mattis on Sunday. Then after that, everybody scatters. See you in Sarasota. Try not to shoot any commercials during the off-season. So they're going to stay with that rotation now. They're going to let those guys play out. They're not going to shut down Chris Tillman. We thought he was a candidate, but, you know, he's pitched 168 innings this year. His previous high was 161 2/3. So he cleared his previous high like they wanted, but he hasn't gone so far above it that they're worried about his arm or anything. And he pitched a little better his last outing. Only walked one batter. Didn't walk 12 over his two previous this time, so he only did one. But he gave up 3 home runs. So we really thought he was a candidate. He's walked 29 and struck out 24 this season. We know what he's going to have to work on. They're going to give him that last start. We thought Brian Mattis was a candidate to be shut down because he has 2 more starts. They'll let him make those 2. He and Bergeson are pitching so much better down the stretch here. We're not going to say they're getting stronger. Buck hates that. We're just going to say that they're not as tired as some of the other guys. Now, I've been asked again, why is Kevin Millwood still in the rotation? Why are they still starting him? Because we know he's going to leave as a free agent. Once again, just stressing, he's a respected veteran. This club feels like he's earned the right to take the ball again, and they think he's better than that 3-16 record. There's no hiding a 5.29 ERA. We know all the problems he's had, but, you know, he had 6 quality starts in a stretch of 8 starts before his last one. So he's pitched better than the record indicates. A little more run support. You know, he wouldn't be 3-16. So they're going to go ahead. I think he's earned the right. Just give him the ball. He's got 1 more start to go. Then he could become a free agent after that and not make nearly as much money as he's making right now.
Now, my colleague Dave Johnson, who I work with regularly on the radio, keeps endorsing Jim Johnson to be in the starting rotation. Right. Jim Palmer mentioned it a little bit yesterday. How about, and Andy McPhail says that Johnson's campaigning behind the scenes.
Right, so I'm outnumbered because I think he should stay in the bullpen.
What's his latest?
I mean, in a perfect world, he'd get in that time machine, go back to 2008 and be the dominant setup man that he was there with that heavy, heavy sinker. It's like he's throwing bowling balls, the batters have said about him. And he showed that yesterday. I mean, you know, he gets a lot of ground balls. He can be a dominant setup man when healthy. Absolutely, he'd rather start. And just to clarify, he's not going around complaining about it. But if you ask him, he'll tell you flat out he'd rather start, because he was a starter all the way through 2007. He won the Jim Palmer Prize as the organization's top minor league pitcher in 05, and that was not as a setup man. Maybe that's why Palmer's campaigning for him to be a starter. So, of course, he wants to start. But you also have to consider, though, you know, along with the fact that he was so good and so valuable for them in 08, he does have that elbow injury. He missed a lot of the season with either it was a new tear, an old tear, it was wear and tear. We never quite figured it out. But he does have a tear in that elbow, and you have to wonder how many innings do you want to pile up on that arm. Maybe he's better off in those 1-inning spurts. So I have not heard any talk at all about him going back into the rotation. You hear more about, well, should they go ahead and sign another veteran for the top of the rotation? You know, where does Vandenhurk play in? Because, as we've said earlier, he's out of minor league options next spring. You got to take a look at him. Is Zach Britton going to be ready? I really am not hearing anything at this point about JJ joining the rotation, but it is worth revisiting in the offseason, talking to Andy McPhail about it to see if they're considering it at all.
Now, how about Troy Patton versus Mark Hendrickson?
Well, Troy Patton is very similar in the fact that he also is a guy who has mostly been a starter in his career. He had 127 minor league appearances. He started 126, so that counts as being mostly a starter. Like JJ, he'll do whatever the Orioles ask him to do. But unlike JJ, he'll flat out tell you, I'm fine in relief. I'll do that because that's his ticket to get in the majors. I actually had this conversation with Troy in Sarasota. He recognizes all the young arms that have passed him by now, the system. Of course, he missed a year after having the labrum surgery that Matt Albers didn't have. It's like a science experiment to see who made the right decision. So he knows he's kind of fallen behind here. He had very mixed results in AAA. He thinks, really, if he's going to stick, it probably is going to be in a bullpen role, and he'd much rather be in the majors. And he is here now. We think he's still here. I think he just takes the tarp on and off and feeds the squirrels. I don't know what Troy Patton's doing. He's pitched 2/3 of an inning in relief so far, but I think it's telling that Vandenhurk is getting the last 2 starts, and it's not Troy Patton. Obviously, the club looks at him more as a candidate to be a starter. They look at Patton as a guy that maybe could be next year's Mark Hendrickson, a guy who can pitch a lefty and long and middle relief. He would be Hendrickson without the bigger contract, without the height, without hopefully that painfully slow pace in every game. But maybe he's a guy that replaces Hendrickson next year.
great insight from Roch Kubatko, MASNsports.com, School of Roch. Check it out on a regular basis. He's doing something on the Orioles about every 5 minutes. He has no life other than the Orioles.
Gotta go.